Can you smell what The Rock's cooking? If you guessed a $250 million budget Christmas movie where he plays a bodyguard hunting down the very real and very kidnapped Santa Claus with the help of Captain America, then congratulations. You got it right. That is exactly what we're talking about today. Maybe go get that head injury checked out as well in the meantime, because Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Where are we at?
Where are we at?
Who thought of something like this?
Modern cinema.
So, Connor, what did you think of Red One?
Is Red One a good film?
No. It's not.
Is it a great film?
Yes.
It's
one of the best movies ever made.
Shockingly fun.
Shockingly good. Shockingly fun.
I wouldn't say shockingly good. It's shockingly fun. Like it is a 4.5 or a 5 out of 10.
Yes.
But
it is fun.
It's so fun. Like I went online afterwards to read what other people think. And this is directly, I'm speaking to all of you. You're too fucking serious. I'm not expecting an Oscar winner, but it was so fucking fun.
Not every movie needs to be something where you've got to think hard and you've got to feel big emotions and stuff.
Admittedly, I went in not having seen a trailer.
Neither.
I had seen a poster and that was about it. I didn't know the premise. I didn't know a fucking thing about it except that it was a rock movie about Christmas, which lines up.
Already... Like, just as a premise, I was not interested.
The stars aligned where I was like, holy shit, this is going to be a bad day. I said to you, I need hazard pay for this one. And then I walked out going, you know what? That was good.
That was payment enough.
That was fun.
I was not expecting it to be as enjoyable as it was.
Before we break it down, all that needs to be said about this movie is that it is a callback to the early 2000s movies where they take an incredibly stupid, silly premise and they play it straight. They put effort in. It is a bad movie with effort put into it, which is what cinema is missing. When I used to work at the cinemas, there would be months at a time where I would walk around doing fuck all because for the 9th, 12th week in a row, the same 3 movies had been playing because nothing was releasing. They'd spend like years spending $1 billion to release this one movie that had come out and do okay. And I'd just play for fucking 12 weeks and it'd be so boring. I need more middling 6, 5 out of 10 movies that are like, well, no, but you know what I'm trying to...
$250 million budget. That's not a middling
but you know
movie.
what I'm trying to say? Like movies that are just like, put some effort into it. Like I went into the movie thinking like, why the fuck is Chris Evans doing this? Like give me more Snowpiercer or Knives Out Chris Evans. And then I walked out going, that's why Chris Evans did that.
Because he's having fun.
He's having fun.
He really enjoyed this role.
Like a lot of the actors definitely phoned it in. But Chris Evans was having a fun time and that carried through.
The Rock phones everything in. I don't really feel like anyone in this movie like phoned it in. I think they knew exactly what kind of role or movie
Lucy
this
Liu
was.
phoned it in, and I'm sorry, I forget her name, but she plays Sally Draper and Sabrina, the character that played the antagonist, also kind of phoned it in. I think she was the weakest part.
She was the weakest part for sure, but. Yeah, everyone else, I feel like, even Lucy Liu, I feel like she knew exactly what kind of movie this was, and I don't think you needed, like, I don't think it's the movie that would have benefited from them going, like, really serious in terms of, like, their acting potential and going hard on the acting.
Well, the benefit of this movie is that it never once looks at the camera and winks or says,
no, they play it straight.
Get a load of this fucking guy.
They play it as straight as possible.
Yeah.
Which isn't a bad thing.
It is like a Men in Black ripoff that I'd expect to see on Disney streaming, but it is so much more enjoyable than that. Watch it with friends and you'll laugh and have a good time because of how bad none of the actual jokes made, barring like maybe 1 or 2 lines from Chris Evans, are funny, but like the premise and things that happen.
No, it's entirely the premise and what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
It's the raw sense of creativity. It's like it was made by a bunch of kids who went in with like crazy imaginations and were like, and well, what if Krampus shows up and has a slap fight with the main character? How sick would that be?
Yeah, and they had money to actually put effort into the things they thought of. Yeah. I mean, we'll get into it more, but there is a scene where it just played completely straight, where like the music cuts and a decrepit ice cream truck drives out of the ocean playing a haunting rendition of Feliz Navidad, and then like 4 just fucking Hulk-sized snowmen come out and then start beating people to death.
And it's actually like a competent action scene.
In Aruba, yeah.
It was like surprisingly like
the CGI was horrible, but like the premise of the action scene was good. I don't care about that
in this movie.
No,
I did not
in this
care at the slightest because the CGI was bad. due to the fact that the entire premise of the movie is just so outlandishly stupid that I was already like disconnected from reality. So I didn't need to be like immersed in anything.
No.
I was just enjoying the ride. I was on a roller coaster.
I had no idea what to expect going in. And what I didn't expect was basically a Save the President movie, but the president is Santa.
Santa Claus. Yeah. It is so funny. I went in not knowing anything other than what was on the poster. I saw like a talking bear, polar bear.
A talking bear, The Rock.
J.K. Simmons as Santa, like a kid on the front cover, and jacked the Rock in the background. And I was like, okay, this is like a weird Hallmark movie, kind of like Polar Express. Not Polar Express, actually, like some other cheap movie that they would have made in like 5 days, basically, just to capitalize on Christmas, where the message is like a dad getting in touch with his kid or something. Spring cheer.
There's
nothing like that.
There's nothing deep here.
No.
But what needs to be said, to a certain degree, is that at every point at the first 20 minutes of the film where it's setting up the movie, where I thought, okay, like here's the stereotypical bullshit that's going to happen. It didn't happen.
No.
Like they set up that the main character is this kid that doesn't believe in Santa and blah, blah, blah. And like all these things that
seen it a million
you'd
times.
expect all these boxes to be ticked and for it to happen. And then the main character is an international terrorist that drinks, swears, gambles, does drugs.
There's like a 20-year time gap between him.
Consistently a horrible human being.
Yeah, it goes from him not believing in Santa, 20-year time skip, and now he's like actually like a world-renowned hacker, basically, who works for a terrorist organization. Like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, he finds people for terrorism. Like he's directly responsible for executions, beheadings, and all these things.
Well, yeah, like he works with very bad people.
Yeah,
he's a piece of shit. Like in the very beginning, you see him on an operation, like to break into like this science facility at like a university, and he burns down a building in the process.
Oh yeah. He steals from people. He's consistently like creepy as well.
Yeah, he's like staring at their asses and shit. And this is Chris Evans, so it was pretty funny just as that, because Chris Evans is like literally Captain America,
the good guy from. I mean, yeah, I am getting a little tired of the shtick of good guy from Brooklyn, being like played on its head instead of Captain America. But still enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy. I think all of the actors did exactly what they needed to do for this movie. I was not bored a single time during this movie. And I went in, like, again, I thought this was one of those sloppy it was going to be an overwhelmingly boring Christmas movie that's like very tugs on your heartstrings and tries to get emotion out of you while capitalizing on Christmas. And I saw that 2-hour runtime and I was like, oh, fuck me. After Moana, this is going to be awful, because we saw this in the same day as Moana.
Yeah.
It's like, Christ, this is going to be an experiment in torture. Couldn't have been further from the truth. This was the funnest 2 hours I've had this week.
Yeah,
like it was so
absolutely
fun. It was so fun.
I saw a few people critiquing a certain scene that was around the beginning of the film. There's a scene between The Rock's character and J.K. Simmons as Santa. The Rock plays like the head of. Okay, there's like fucking 7 layers of things to actually describe to even set up the context for this scene. But essentially, there is a conversation between these two where I'll break it down later, but The Rock's character wants to retire because he doesn't see the joy in Christmas.
Yeah, he's
anymore.
become the Grinch, basically.
He has become very cynical with his job. And, J.K. Simmons, wise old Santa, is kind of trying to give some wisdom to him. And, I saw some people critiquing it, saying it's like beating the audience in the skull, being like, you're a bad human being, like fucking stop being so bad and like enjoy Christmas and be friendly to each other. But honestly, as much as I loathe The Rock, I fucking hate him, the emotional beat in this scene was actually pretty good.
Well, the emotional beat overall of the movie, it's nothing like crazy good or anything, but it's like competent.
Yeah, it was competent. Like I have had that conversation in my life where I'm like, I'm kind of getting tired of this. I don't really want to move on. And someone else has been like, you just kind of like got to push it out a little bit. Or I've been like reverse. Like it was a competently done scene. I was invested. It's not as like much as I hate to say it, I was invested like bare minimum in Rock's character.
Yeah. It wasn't like he's just big muscle dude who like is there for comic relief. He was in many ways also the main character. He was also, like you said, he had a competent like narrative beat to him, his character throughout the movie as he learns to love Christmas again and learns to believe in the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, I will say the main like issue he has isn't really ever solved throughout the film, but he still gets a little bit of a payoff that lets him have some hope again.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's done competently. Like again, it's not Oscar bait. It's not going to It's not going to win the hearts of many people. I'm not going to be thinking about this in a week, which is perfect.
No, it's a great Christmas film. You just watch with some friends or your family. And you're like, that was so stupid. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I walked out of that. I don't think I'd say I'd enjoyed it as much, but I would say it's on the same kind of spectrum as Bullet Train.
Yeah.
Where I went in, I was like, what the fuck is this?
Don't know what to expect. This is crazy. This is what like these movies, like there's room in cinema for those like really, effective emotional stories, really, really effective cinema.
I don't need Dune 2 for everything.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
as much as I would love there to be, some fun little dumb
these
things.
fun, dumb movies that some fucking insane, coked up Hollywood executive spent $250 million on because The Rock was like, hey, I want to make a Santa movie.
And then showed up 8 hours late to every fucking shooting session, which cost them an extra $50 million.
Yeah. Like, more power to you because I really enjoyed this.
I would say this is the peak that a paycheck movie can get.
Yes.
J.K. Simmons got $700,000 to be asleep for like
he was asleep the entire movie.
Yeah, which is actually a little disappointing. I
would have liked to have seen J.K. Simmons because he eats up those Santa
If you want a
rolls.
good Christmas movie with J.K. Simmons in it, watch Klaus. Great movie. He's phenomenal as Santa in that. But in this, the few scenes he has, I could feel his wisdom. And I'm not going to lie, this is a little stupid, but he has in that same emotional scene with him and The Rock where they have a one-on-one. He, for the first time in the movie, he says, like we all make a choice every day, like small or big, like if to be good or not.
Yeah.
And like that kind of hit for me. I was like, you know what? Like that's kind of something I need to hear right now in my own personal life. And then they proceed to beat that fucking message into you and say the line like 1,000 other times in your movie.
I did not care.
But I was like, you know what? Like I enjoy J.K. Simmons brings that wisdom and that gravitas to him.
I do think that 30 minutes could have been cut from the movie and it wouldn't have lost anything necessarily.
Kind of dragged. Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that I was like bored during the scenes or anything. So I don't count it against the movie. I just think it could have been tightened up a little bit.
Yeah.
And it could have been as effective or better, whatever. But as it is, like 2 hours, I didn't really feel the runtime. Some people might, but I was just like kind of absorbed in the creativity of the world that they had committed to.
Not watching a trailer for this is
decision.
So to your benefit. Going in knowing nothing is insane. Because at every turn something happens and you're like, no way.
Yeah, like I said, I was going in expecting a Hallmark movie. This was like Narnia. I stepped into Narnia basically.
To wrap up the opening part, I got to say, just go watch it with some friends.
Give it a chance.
You'll probably have a good time. Just go in open with it. Maybe
It's honestly like the perfect Christmas movie, like Christmas cinema movie, to just go with a few friends, have a laugh.
Have an absolute laugh and then go home.
In the spirit
and you'll
of
never think
Christmas.
about it again.
No.
Just watch it. It's fun.
It is fun. It's, again, not a good movie. Like, it's not necessarily shot well. I would say that the action scenes are actually pretty competent. They weren't, like, awful, like, obnoxious. There's only a few in the movie, but they are fun.
The Rock's chase scene was fun.
They get creative.
Yeah, they get creative.
Like, the Iceman scene.
Yeah.
Like, it was fun.
And they kind of tried to, like... The actions kind of tried to play off Ant-Man, but instead of going down very small, The Rock turned into like a 3-year-old size.
Yeah, it was like, he was tiny, like just a kid.
He was
size.
weird, but it was, I don't know.
He's got like a gadget on him that shrinks his size. We haven't really explained what the movie is even about.
No, okay, so that is a whole thing. Like we're talking about level 6 stuff that you need to understand.
It goes fucking insane.
So it opens with Chris Evans as a little child not believing in Santa, and actually, to preface, there's a million plot points that will happen and then never be brought up and dropped again, and there's also a million sort of things that just won't make any sense. You just have to run with it and then it'll be a good time.
I feel like it's mainly because this is literally just a roller coaster of a movie.
Oh yeah, like nothing, so much happens, but like no plot is paid off, and like you go from one thing to the next.
Yeah, as soon as like you ask a question, you're like, wait, why is that happening? They immediately put a new ridiculous situation in front of your eyes, and you're like, I've forgotten about everything that just happened. This is amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, he doesn't believe in Santa. And again, don't ask about like the way this universe works, because all the adults are like, yeah, man, Santa's real. Don't worry about it. He doesn't believe in it. He like sneaks a bunch of other kids back up to where all the parents have hidden all the presents. And he's like, hey, look, I found these. And then the adult comes in and kicks the kids out. And he's like, why are you being like this? Yeah. Like, Santa's going to come, dude. These are our presents.
But he's ruining it for the other kids, basically.
Like, Santa's going to come. Like, don't worry about it. And then to set up his character, you find that he's a sneaky, dodgy little kid, and he's like, I can find anything. And then you get
his dad's out of the scene. He's like a pessimistic, cynical little kid who's like, wants to be better than everyone else.
Yeah,
which extends into who he becomes, which is
and then we get the hard cut to 20 years later, where we introduced to Chris Evans and all his swagger, just committing acts of terror.
Well, yeah, that's the scene where he he's hunting down information for a black market seller at some university, and in order to get into the building,
it's not just a university; it's like the International Seismic Monitoring.
Yeah.
So he sets.
But you don't have any context for why he's there or why he's stealing stuff at this point, so it just looks like he's a private investigator or something. And that's what I mean. The roller coaster. Eventually, you find out he was there to steal seismic data indicating where Santa Claus is hiding in the real world. You're like, what the fuck?
Well, no, you see, because you see him steal a bunch of data, and then you get a cut back to his apartment where he's sat there gambling on boxing, which he loses, and I can very much relate to. Fuck you, Mike Tyson. And then you see that he assumes he's sold data for where some weapon testing is happening in the North Pole or something.
Yeah, I was like, this is still at least relatively at this point in the movie grounded in okay, this is weird, but it's. He could be a hacker, working for some shady organization who's selling secrets to the CIA or something,
Yeah.
There's still some level of realism there.
And there's a scene where we're introduced to J.K. Simmons' Santa, who's in a Philadelphia shopping mall, just handing out, he loves it. He loves it there. He loves the kids.
Yeah.
And we're introduced to The Rock's character and Elf. What was it?
And the way it's designed in this scene, it genuinely looks like Santa Claus is just J.K. Simmons' character is just a mall Santa.
He's just a mall Santa.
He's just doing the mall Santa thing. And then The Rock is dressed up as an elf. So I was like, okay, so he's just
he's dressed up as an elf.
I was thinking this would be like a mall cop situation where this guy just takes his job very seriously and he's just like a guard.
Yeah, because he's talking into the radio and he's like, hey, there's a dude stealing over there. Keep an eye on him.
Yeah, I thought it was literally just okay, so this is going to be a movie about a mall Santa and a mall guard basically teaming up for some reason to stop maybe Chris Evans' character
from ruining Christmas.
Yeah, something like that. I was like, okay, it's short, dumb, but I can go along with it. But then Santa gets escorted out of the...
First, just for further context, this is also where it sets up that
getting too excited.
Yeah, The Rock... His whole beat is that there's a whole scene of him watching people argue about essential oils and steel, and the joy from Christmas is gone in the adults, and that he can't see the kid in the adult anymore, and that Christmas is just ruined.
He's jaded.
He's very jaded, and is why he wants to retire.
Yeah.
And then he starts escorting J.K. Simmons' Santa, also known as Red, to his car just to drive him out. Pretty stock standard.
Well, until it gets into a fucking actual US military convoy.
Until he's led out to a convoy where multiple armed security guards are just Red One is in the vicinity. And then they get him into a convoy.
And then it was what the fuck?
He's like, man, I love Philadelphia. Can we get some cheesesteak? And then the president is fucking escorted out.
Yeah, I literally thought okay, maybe the president of the at this point I was rationalizing in my head because I still thought this was a semi-serious movie for some reason.
No.
I was like, is this the US president masquerading as Santa because he likes giving gifts to children at malls or something doing his public service? But then he got into a sleigh.
And then he's escorted to a military base where his massive fucking futuristic sleigh led by all the reindeer who have glowing horns take off at Mach 12 with an F-35 escort. Yeah.
So serious.
And then he just, is communicating with, he has handshakes with 4-star generals and they're real good to see you, Red.
Yeah.
And then
Red One.
Fucking takes off. And I was like, is he going to enter light speed? And then he enters light speed.
He does. He enters light speed. And then we arrive at the North Pole or South. Which one's? It's North Pole.
North. Which is another Wakanda situation where the North Pole has turned into a massive city under a dome. And I turned to you in the movie and I said, the North, it's a massive, grim, dark construction city that it looks like someone has built Gotham in a modded version of Frostpunk.
And it looks so cool.
It looks so cool. I genuinely was like, I want to live and work there.
It looked like it had genuine thought and creativity put behind.
There was a lot of wide shots of the city where they put effort in.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to live and work there. This looks like a sick place.
Yeah, it looked really cool. And then I was like, okay, so I'm fully in now. Santa's real. They arrive there. And there's like it looks like a Star Wars movie. There's like little alien elves.
It was very Harry Potter Star Wars. You know, like the little elves are running around fixing all the fucking sleighs and doing mechanic work.
Giant talking polar bears.
Yeah,
and they all play it so straight and so serious. And I'm like, I thought this was just. He was a mall Santa.
I was like, what is this?
What is happening?
Yeah. And then we get the emotional beats with J.K. Simmons where he's like working out. As
he's
Santa.
actually like
incredibly jacked.
You know, The Rock wrote this scene or something because he's like in the gym and The Rock's helping J.K. Simmons Santa pump iron because he has to get ready for the big day.
It was pretty cute for his character.
It was actually really cute. The next day because he's like, I burned like 20,000 calories. And
they're like, what, 28 hours to Christmas Eve right now? Yeah.
So he's getting fit and working out. They rehearse for this day every single day of the year, apparently.
Yeah, in the middle of this massive Gotham city in the snow is the original small log cabin that Santa started off in, multiple thousands of years ago.
Yeah,
with the original sleigh there, and it's a cute little memorial in the middle of the city. And The Rock, all jaded, goes down and stands there, and he's kind of looking at it.
Because he had handed in his retirement.
He just handed in his resignation.
Yeah, which is when
he's like, I'm doing one last ride. And then we're out.
Yeah,
and then,
which is where Santa gives him that speech about this doing small things or whatever.
Yeah, and he's just it's a nice little emotional thing. And then he looks up at the fucking Avengers Tower that Santa lives in.
Yeah, it's like this giant tower.
He's like, hey guys, like there's a light out on this floor. Can you go fucking investigate? And then another light goes off. And he's like,
because The Rock is like the leader of
Elf, which was something logistics and fortification.
Yeah, which is like the Secret Service for Santa, basically. Like they're the special agents. So he's the head of
the ELF.
He's the head of the Secret Service, basically. And so he like radios into his team, who consists of like a talking polar bear and shit like that.
Garcia.
Garcia. I wish we heard more from. Like, I wanted more.
I liked him as the muscle.
Yeah, there was very little scenes. He was on the poster, so I thought he'd be more prominent.
Yeah.
But yeah, he radios up to them and he's like, yo, can you go check out the room? There's a light out. At this point, it's not an emergency. He just thinks that like a light has blown.
Which is where actually I thought this in the movie, and talking about your competency line before, everyone is just like, well, obviously the lights are going out, and there had been a scene previously establishing that some random unnamed like goons were breaking into the fucking barrier to go do something. And this is where you get the first hint of the villain.
It's also the same people that are connected with Chris Evans'
character, because he gave them the data to get here.
Yeah.
So obviously The Rock is immediately like, something's up, we got to go figure it out. Like, someone locates Santa, we got to keep him safe. And there's a scene where like he's sprinting through, he gets into an elevator, and the whole time, he's asked like, can you check this floor, this floor, this floor? And there's like just this shot of like it rotating around The Rock as he's in the elevator where like 1,000 voices are going off, like this floor doesn't have him, this floor doesn't have him, like he's missing.
All the agents are checking
and there was like genuine like some like a bit of dread and build up, and I was like, anxiety. This is weirdly good. Yeah. I was like, if this was in any other film, I'd actually be incredibly invested right now.
It would be like the cheapest. If this was if they truly went the no effort route, it would have been the most lazy scene ever. Like, it would have just been like, oh, Santa's gone and that's it. But no, there was like build up to the reveal that Santa has been kidnapped.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I found myself smiling while The Rock was on scene, and I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah,
like, why am I enjoying a scene the fucking Rock is in?
Why am I smiling at a fucking Rock Christmas movie?
Yeah, I was like, I've actually felt anxiety in that scene. This is weirdly competent.
Yeah, and it helps that J.K. Simmons is obviously Santa, so he's like,
I liked him.
Yeah,
so I was like, oh no, he's missing.
He was really good in the role.
Yeah.
For the very few times that he showed up.
Yeah. And then, he goes up, he sees that Santa's missing, the window smashed open, and
there's some milk.
Fucking special forces goons are like propelling down. Yeah, they crashed milk on the floor.
So Santa's been there.
Yeah. And then, he goes off, jumps out a window, and you get this insane... You get this insane chase scene where there's like fucking Ratchet and Clank style grind rails for delivering parts throughout this entire
Again, so creative
city.
And fun.
Yeah, so
they could have just had him run through the streets or something, all across the
he jumps from rooftop to rooftop, gets on here, grinds on some rails, catches up.
It's like Ready Player One kind of stuff.
Yeah, he's got his team of like logistics people in the center, and he's like, put up these walls in these fucking districts.
He's
and
like coordinating everything while he's
cutting
chasing
off
after
the fucking things. I was like, you know what, this is cool.
This is fun.
Yeah, it just the premise and the aesthetic of this city really sells everything. It was so cool.
I wish we spent a little bit more time in the city.
Yeah, it was everything I liked about like an early 2000s like PS2 game where I was like Jack and Daxter. There's that like a little bit of sci-fi to this city that I was like, this is cool.
Okay, but then talking about how this roller coaster just really never ends throughout the movie.
Yes.
At this point, I was like, okay, I'm finally on board. I understand what's happening.
get it.
Santa is real.
Santa's
He's been
real.
kidnapped by terrorists.
Someone is like clearly on the naughty list and dissatisfied with Santa, so they're gonna like steal Santa.
This
to
is
ruin
obviously the extent of their creativity and how far they'll go. But then it's revealed quite quickly, I think, after...
Yeah, so because Santa's stolen, so then The Rock goes in and Lucy Liu's character appears on like some fucking Nick Fury screen and she's obviously super important and she's like, what the fuck happened? And then he's talking like, I mean, he's clearly the second man to Santa, but he's treats this character like she's super important. So you're like, what?
And then so it's revealed that there's a level up. It's not just Santa that's real.
No.
This is a full mythological universe.
Yeah, there's Mora, mythological fucking something.
Yeah, it's another organization.
MORA.
Yeah. They contain mythological units. So we go to the compound of them and it, like the headless knight, what's his name?
Headless Horseman?
Yeah, the Headless Horseman is there and he's contained and they've just interrogated him because they thought he might have had something to do with it.
Yeah, they were like torturing him by putting like his burning pumpkin skull by like dunking it in fucking ice and then pulling it back out and being like, give us
So at this point, I was like, holy shit, they're doing everything. This is crazy.
They're doing everything.
This is the craziest, wildest ride ever.
Yeah.
Every myth and shit is true. It's all in the world. It's all hidden. And at that point, I was like thinking to myself, obviously,
Where's
like,
it go?
Yeah, who else is in this movie? Because I was like, is the Grinch going to show up?
I was really hoping the Grinch
Is
would
the
show
Tooth
up.
Fairy going to show up?
Yeah.
And while they don't, obviously those ones don't show up, and while not a lot of them do show up, there are still some like big appearances.
There's hints to other creatures, and then there's also like hints to all the schools of magic, like conjuration, abjuration, evocation. I'm like, what the fuck? And but
it makes me want a universe.
We got a little ahead of ourselves because this team of Mora that handles mythological things figure out that the data to steal Santa was sold by Chris Evans, so they send in special forces who like abduct him.
They called Chris Evans
the wolf.
And I was like, I was way into this at this point, so I was like, oh shit, the big bad wolf is he's in this bitch too.
Yeah. This special forces team pulls up with like zap guns that just like completely deactivate you as a human being.
Weirdly scary. They turn them into husks.
Yeah, it turns you into a husk until they reactivate you with a separate one. And this is never brought up ever again or used.
No, it was cool.
Yeah.
It had its scene.
So they abduct him and he's like, what the fuck? And then, The Rock starts like, this is where the two main characters meet, and The Rock and Chris Evans get into it, and then he brings in the fucking talking polar bear to just like threaten to maim Chris Evans and beat the shit out of him to get him to cooperate. And this is where I started to enjoy his character even more because he's a gambling degenerate who's just like, I know Santa is stolen, and I've just been revealed that like the mythological world is real, but double my pay.
Yeah, I'm gonna extort you motherfuckers.
It was fun.
Yeah. Fun.
And then from there, they're like, okay, well, we need you to find Santa because he's gone missing. So that's like the premise of the film is that he's dragged along.
Yeah, unlikely team up kind of thing.
Yeah, because you can't send Mora into like these international mythological like laws and treaties have been established. So they send in these two rogue agents to go do it for them.
Yeah, it's like Mission Impossible.
Yeah, it's fucking some Die Hard shit.
It's Die Hard mixed with Mission Impossible. Oh man, it's so much fun.
It's so much fun.
They got so creative with it. And I feel like a lot of it might be owed to the fact that, again, I didn't expect this, and going in and being met with something unexpected and creative and fun.
If I had watched the trailer and knew what I was going to get, I would have enjoyed it less.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's more exciting when you're on a roller coaster and you don't know you're on a roller coaster.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I never knew when the peak was going to hit. Yeah, because every single time some other creature would be revealed, and I was like, well, this universe gets bigger and bigger.
I would still say go watch it though, even if you're listening to this right now, the spoiler talk, because it genuinely is fun.
Yeah, that's why I said at the start, like, go in not watching this or the trailer and watch it. Yeah, it's just great. But like, yeah, immediately from here we get into like the first few set pieces where they're like, okay, we got to go to Aruba because like there's fucking Bosnian death mercs there that I sold the information to.
Yeah.
And they transport themselves from like toy stores to toy stores as like teleporters around the world. And then they go out and the Rock grabs a bunch of like Monopoly sets and toys and things because he has like some Ant-Man gun that can make things like big and real instead of a toy.
It's like a wrist gauntlet thing.
Yeah, so he turns like a little Hot Wheels car into like an actual car. And this is like where they talk about Chris Evans' kid and his like ex-wife and blah, blah, blah. Which I actually also really enjoyed that he's like, he was never with her. He's not like some reluctant ex-husband or anything.
Yeah.
He just got some random girl pregnant and had a kid, and now she's like with some other dude, and he's just like an actual sleazebag.
Yeah, he's a deplorable dude. Which, like, if this was any other movie, I'd be faulting it because him turning into a reliable father at the end or whatever felt very sudden. But it's this movie. Just I don't care. I really don't care.
Yeah, no.
It makes sense because he's literally.
He didn't even really become a reliable father. He was just more like, okay, I guess I'll try because I've been staying away.
Yeah. And it's like, sure, this is really sudden, but this motherfucker just literally worked with and met Santa for the first time. Like, of course, that's going to have an effect on you. Crazy effect.
Yeah, absolutely. J.K. Simmons had that gravitas to him where I was like, I would change my life if you told me to.
Well, if Santa showed up, fuck yeah.
Yeah. And then this is further where it established how creepy it is that like Chris Evans sees The Rock's character turn toys real. So they go into a toy store and he immediately walks up to the clerk. He's like, do you have a Wonder Woman toy?
Yeah.
Can I make her real?
Seediest way possible.
Seedy creep.
Yeah, and that comes up later. It's like Chekhov's Wonder Woman gun.
Yeah. And from there they just go, this is where they fight the snowman in the beach, and like that was a fun action scene.
Yeah, again,
like pulling out the carrot nose.
In a lesser movie, the snowman wouldn't have even existed, but they like some henchmen would have shown up and fought. In this one, they have so much fun with it. First of all, the guy that the wolf Chris Evans sold the information to, he gets possessed by the main antagonist, Grilla. I think her name is Grilla.
Yep.
Grilla,
the Christmas witch.
Really creepy scene where, well, not super creepy, but like creepy for this movie, where he gets possessed by her and she speaks to them and she's like, don't try to track me down, whatever.
Yeah, if they say her name, she can hear.
She can hear whoever says her name because she's a witch.
Yeah.
She's the Christmas witch.
Yeah.
So she's like, don't try to hunt me down or anything. Don't try to find me.
I think it was at this point that I was like, when he wrote Grilla's name in the sand, and I was like, oh, that's like a real random deep cut. They're actually going for a lot of obscure, well, not obscure, but like
Christmas references.
Yeah, it's not just like the Grinch is the enemy here. Like, no. This is an obscure character from Christmas mythology.
Myths.
It was very random. And then all of these sort of things happen, and then they end up going to see Krampus.
Wait. But I was going to say, so on that scene in Aruba, like maybe the henchmen would have just shown up in a lesser movie, but in this they like
get the Feliz Navidad Christmas truck to come out of the water.
Like literally just drives out of the ocean very slowly. And there's like a little, like the set design or the prop design of the car, it had like a little snowman, like a snowman. What do you call the things on the front? Ornament, like a snowman ornament on it. And then the doors are open and like Frost comes out, and then 3 giant snowmen.
Oh yeah, there's like the smoke show reveal of Frost, and then the sort of snowmen.
It's like
come
a
out.
wrestling appearance.
Yeah, like there was just so much effort put into these just one and done villains that had 2 minutes of screen time.
So much fun.
It was so much fucking fun. Hell.
It's just like the situation is so funny and dumb. I couldn't help but like smile and laugh at it.
Yeah,
and that's the entire movie.
Yeah, and then they just continue from there, figuring out like random small things, trying to find out like where Santa could possibly be
and what the objective of Grilla is.
And now that they know it's Grilla, they're like, okay, well, she's a witch, she's a conjurer. Let's go scan the world for where like illegal conjuring has happened, and they find it in Germany. And when they mentioned Germany, I was like, is it going to be Krampus?
Yeah, Krampus.
And then they go to a graveyard and go through some portal where they enter Krampusland. And then from there, I have to point out that the Krampusland is like the highlight of the film, because this was like,
again, so much.
I mean, this is an insane comparison, and it's like definitely wrong, but it's all I can think of is that it's like Hellboy levels of commitment to this just zone where every single background character, just random extras on set, could have just been dudes in like some little leather or whatever, but there were like creature designs and full makeup and prosthetics. And there's like one character that has maybe a total of 30 seconds of screen time where he just announces that like you're meant to slap him now that we're playing Krampus.
He's like a giant
but he's a massive talking bird with full prosthetics and everything. I was like, so much effort.
It's like a Star Wars movie.
Yeah, and then like Krampus himself had a fucking awesome design. His actor did okay too. It was like
the actor, I think Krampus probably killed it the most. Way
much more engaging, like sort of antagonist than Grilla was as the witch.
Oh yeah. 100%.
And Krampus's sleigh that has like gargoyle heads on it that fucking chant his fucking rock song.
Yeah, it was so fucking cool. And you hear it at the end in the distance as he comes in and saves the day. Basically.
Yeah.
Because Krampus is Santa's
brother.
Like, adopted brother, I think they said.
The anti-Claus to Santa Claus.
Yeah. And so they've had like a falling out or something.
Yeah. And
Krampus
they were like,
wanted to punish.
Yeah. They were like, he would know where Grilla is because they used to be lovers. Like they spent 700 years running around the countryside punishing the naughty.
The naughty list. He was the one that created the naughty list.
He was the one that created, the lore goes deep.
Yeah. There was so much lore. Santa and stuff, and Santa didn't want to create the naughty list, but Krampus did.
Yeah,
they had a falling out and stuff, and then Krampus got with Grilla.
Krampus had a little snow globe that could imprison one person in it, and it was like the only thing in the world. But then Grilla came and took it, and then was basically like duplicating and mass producing it to have billions to punish.
So that's her plan. Basically.
Her plan is to punish the entire anyone that it showed literally in her speech. Anyone that has ever jaywalked or lied or done like anything.
Yeah, anyone.
As soon as she said jaywalking, I was like, I'm done.
Yeah,
that's all I do. I don't wait. Fuck waiting.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then they're leaving here after like figuring out all this, and they grow closer as characters and have like all this fight or whatever.
Some fun banter here and there.
Yeah, and then as they're leaving, they're driving down like a dark, haunted, fucking foggy.
Wait, did you talk about the slut fight?
No, like I mentioned it, but so they solve their problems by challenging Krampus to a Krampus slap.
Yeah.
And it was just professional slap
fight.
Yeah.
Krampus destroys them, but they get the upper hand through like putting the shrinking ray
through gambling and bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. And then they again, the creativity, like they throw some for their escape, they throw some Rock'em Sock'em boxing bots.
Oh yeah, and make those real, and they just start like punching, and then Krampus comes up and boxes with them.
So good, so much fun. Like they could have just escaped,
Yeah.
In the commotion.
No, but they didn't. They threw down boxing
Yeah.
bots because why wouldn't you?
Yeah, but it's just fun.
Yeah, and they like took a fucking rubber chicken and turned into a real chicken to distract hellhounds.
Yeah.
And so at that point when they mentioned the hellhounds, I was like, so Satan's real too?
Oh yeah, he's real.
He's real.
He's real. He's a category 6 mythological creature.
Yeah, dude, what the fuck?
It's so crazy. Yeah, and so again, like this, whatever that German place is where Krampus lives, the set design was so like actually good.
Like old German castle. It's cool.
It was cool.
And then
it was only like one set. It was only like one room.
No, but it was well done.
And it was an exterior. But yeah, it was like, it looked good.
Yeah. And then as they're leaving and driving through the haunted foggy forest, there's just a piano that appears in the middle of the road, hauntingly playing just a Christmas song with like a little box on top. And like, it's not a horror, like I'm not scared, it was an
like
effective,
fun.
Cute little like scary scene. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, like this is obviously bad. The villain has some drama going on here, and I like that.
So Grilla's objective was to imprison all the naughty people in the box. And then so Chris Evans' character opens the box, and obviously he's a very naughty person.
He was a level 4 naughty lister.
Yeah, he was level 4 naughty lister, which is pretty serious.
Yeah, the top of the list.
Yeah. And so, yeah, he opens the box and it's got his name on it. So he gets imprisoned pretty quickly.
Well, no. So what happened is that he had missed his son's
jazz recital. And
his son calls him angry, like, why the fuck aren't you here? Also, like, really weird present to send me, don't do that. And they're on FaceTime and you can see that his son got one of the snow globes. And Chris Evans and The Rock are like, don't fucking touch the snow globe. And then his son touches it and gets imprisoned. And that's where you get actually like a kind of cute scene where Chris Evans is like, just find me, Rock. Like, my son's in there, I'm going in.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then like goes into his own orb. And it was kind of nice.
Yeah, he willingly chose.
Yeah.
Because at this point, that was the first time that Chris Evans in the Krampus place is the first time that his character had done something nice, really. It's the first time he showed that he was growing as a character due to The Rock's influence and stuff and becoming a nicer person and choosing to help others instead of just helping himself. You know, the typical Christmas movie stuff.
Yeah.
Like he helped The Rock escape from...
Instead of just leaving.
Yeah, because he was given the option to
Krampus was like, you can just go, bro.
Yeah.
He was a nice guy like that.
Yeah. He wanted to punish The Rock instead. And so he's like, you can just fuck off.
Yeah.
But then Chris Evans stayed around and helped The Rock escape. So he was changing as a person.
Yeah. Which like is different to 5 minutes beforehand where The Rock was like, don't touch anything because you're mortal and this is an immortal place. And then Chris Evans walks up to like a fucking shrine to Krampus and just starts stealing gold.
Yeah. Like he changes pretty quick.
Yeah.
But they have like a heart-to-heart in the jail cell where in Krampus land before that change in character.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was like a conversation there that was effective to Chris Evans' character and that's why he changes.
Yeah. And then from here, they figure out that Santa was never actually stolen from Santaland.
It was a decoy, yeah.
Yeah, it was a decoy drone, and they actually have Santa trapped underneath the North Pole in the like ancient manufacturing area where they're like just pumping out these snow globes to capture children in.
Yeah, which plot holes, like how did they not know?
Yeah, well then it's also established that Gorilla has 12 children who can like also shapeshift, and they're like, you know, taking over important positions. And when I was thinking about it, I'm like, if you give me 12 shapeshifters, I'm in the US government pretty quick.
Yeah, you could do it. Yeah.
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 So they've taken over, and then they figure this out, and they go back, and eventually everyone's reunited here and broken out of the orbs, and they have this huge fight scene between like all the goons and all the fucking elf and the bear, and they're all killing each other. And then they're out on the Gorilla's like trying to take off. She's like, I'm going to do one last Christmas ride and drop off all the fucking orbs around the world to just capture everyone.
Yeah, capture everyone.
Yeah, and then you get this giant kaiju fight up on the bridge, and they're losing because Gorilla's true form is like a 16-foot tall gigabitch with like two tails. And
yeah, she's like a demon.
Yeah, she's beating the shit out of them. And then you hear the theme to Krampus, and he just comes slaying in from the sky, shooting fireballs at her.
Yeah, saves the day.
And he's like, you guys don't know how to handle a real woman.
Yeah. And so he saves the day because he had a change of heart because The Rock also talked to him. Rock changed everyone's hearts this Christmas. He had to talk to him in Krampus land. And he was like, your brother never gave up on you.
Yeah. There's a kind of a cute scene where like the 12-foot tall demon Krampus is looking at like J.K. Simmons, and they have a cute little brotherly moment. Yeah. J.K. Simmons is like, do you want to say the night? And Krampus is like, nah, man, don't push it.
Yeah. It's kind of start off slow.
Yeah. It's kind of cute.
Yeah, it was very cute.
And then we get the best action scene in the whole movie.
Oh my God, so fucking funny. Just when I thought it couldn't get better.
Yeah, I was like, I thought everyone's reunited. Santa's been saved. This is gonna be it, yeah. You know, he's rekindled with his son. This is where the movie's about to end. It'll be a nice.
I thought in the hangar where like Santa takes off for his Christmas flight, like they just wave at him goodbye.
Yeah. There's a good little thing.
Cut to credits.
Yeah, and then Santa gets to meet Jack and Chris Evans and his son and thank them. And then he's like, "Oh, do you guys want to come on the ride?" And everybody I think they just take off into the sky, and then the credits roll.
Credits.
No,
because again, effort.
Yeah, effort. There's the last 5 minutes of the film are watching Santa fly around the world in this intense action scene of him going down, rocking montage into every road. He's like fucking doing
ziplining, parachuting down.
There's like teams of fucking Spec Ops goblins fucking fixing lights and helping him.
So that he's like, it's a montage of him going to every home and leaving a present.
Yeah,
and in the most spectacularly awesome way ever.
And they're like, holy shit, he's fit.
He's like doing backflips over roofs, sliding down the roofs.
There's a break where he's like getting massaged by an elf, and they've got like a bottle of milk, and he's like in a gym.
He's like up on the sled, like panting after a house, and he's like,
the elf's like, you got this, man, you got this.
He's got massaged his back. It's like, fuck, this is so awesome.
Yeah, and then there's a nice little scene at the end where, you know, like Chris Evans is talking to his kid, and The Rock looks over, and instead of seeing Chris Evans, he sees the kid from the start of the movie, and he's like, I see the kid behind the adult now, and I see the joy. So like it didn't solve his issue of like hating all the adults, but he saw one person get saved.
He saw the potential and what Sanders,
and he was like, I won't resign anymore, and
I want to stay on.
Yeah, J.K. Simmons got a little teared up and was like, that's great. And then, you know,
J.K. Simmons loves The Rock.
Yeah, and then that's where the movie ends.
It was so good, and like that is a pretty like for this kind of fucking stupid movie. That is the perfect message. Like, it's perfectly competent and fine for that kind of message to exist in this movie.
Absolutely. You make choices every day to choose to be good, and sometimes you got to choose hope.
Like, what else do you want from a Santa movie?
From a 5 out of 10 movie. Christmas movie, you know, with The Rock. Like, you're not going to get anything more.
It was competent. Like, that shot at the end where you see him as a kid instead, like, yeah, that was effective.
It was good.
It was fine.
I just really enjoyed the movie.
I did. Again, at 5 out of 10, like objectively, like the writing, the acting, the shots, the music.
I went in there hateful and I got turned around.
Yes. It's a 5 out of 10, but my God, is it a 10 out of 10 in the smile department?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, that's all it needs to be.
It's all it needs to be. I wasn't expecting visual diarrhea and boredom and me falling asleep.
Yeah.
And it was none of those.
I expected every few minutes to be looking at my phone.
Yeah. I wanted more. I want a Red 1 2.
Red 2.
Yeah. I want more of this universe. I actually do. Like, I think that would be fun.
Just what, like the different myths?
Different myths. Like, just follow that organization or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I could see a sequel for like next Christmas where the Grinch is the villain.
That would be fucking awesome.
Yeah. But I want like Jim Carrey level Grinch with the full costume.
Just cartoonishly fucking over the top.
Yeah. It's so stupid, but so fun. And that's honestly all you need sometimes.
They clearly had fun making the movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chris Evans had a great time making it.
They all did. Like, whoever was writing it, they was just like, dude, it would be fucking insane.
I saw the writer
happened.
was The Rock's ex-wife's brother. So I guess that's how The Rock got involved, is that the ex-wife's brother was like, you owe me one, bro. You broke her heart.
Yeah, maybe. That's pretty funny. I feel like The Rock loved this movie as well, though.
He's nothing different to what he normally does, but I don't know. Something about the premise and the other...
I did not hate him in this.
I didn't hate him because of the way he played his bullshit that I normally don't enjoy played off Chris Evans' character.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is 20 years later, just still like trying to rehash the Tooth Fairy, but...
Again, it's the same character we see The Rock play.
Yeah, if you've seen The Tooth Fairy, you've seen The Rock in every other movie, but
everything else in this movie and The Rock it just works.
It works. It works well enough.
So, would you recommend this movie?
Absolutely.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, 100%. Go see it.
I can't believe out of all the movies we've reviewed so far, I've recommended Red 1 and Smile 2.
And Wicked.
And Wicked, actually, yeah. The ones I thought I would hate are the ones I've actually gone in and being like, and then when I wanted to enjoy Gladiator, I'm like, don't watch it.
Very sad, that movie.
It's a weird state.
It is, but very well deserved in this case.
Yeah.
Yep. So I would recommend going and watching it and let us know what you think of it as well. Because
I need to hear more about people's dumb thoughts.
It's bombing so hard, which is predictable.
It's gonna bomb, but like, just have some fucking Christmas joy.
Why wouldn't you go watch this? I mean, I know I didn't want to. I wouldn't have chosen to go watch this.
Yeah, no, that is the thing. Like, The Rock's done it a disservice where I wouldn't want to watch it, but then I watched it and I was like, I fucking wish people would. Yeah. I immediately messaged my friend and I was like, dude, I know you don't want to watch it, but you have to watch it. Yeah. And he's like, I don't know if I can get over my hatred for The Rock.
No, you will.
You will.
You barely see The Rock as The Rock in this. I mean, yes, he plays the same character, but you're so absorbed in the absurdity of everything else, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, look, honestly, if you've got no plans for like a Christmas Eve and it's like, if you're watching this in America or anywhere that it snows and it's just a cold night, it'll definitely be out on streaming by the time Christmas is out. It'd be stupid not to.
Yeah, probably.
Sit there with some friends, have a few drinks, have some food and watch this movie and it'll be a great Christmas.
Yeah, you'll be cracking jokes.
It's fucking so stupid.
It'd be so fun.
Yeah. This is the kind of movie where we walked out and I was like, I'd watch it with my dad.
Yeah.
My dad would love this.
I honestly think in like a few years, this will be like a cult classic.
I don't think it's going to be a classic. I wouldn't say it's that good.
I think it will be.
I don't think it'll be a classic.
I think it will be. It's like you likened it to the B movie before.
Yeah, it's not quite the same level of B movie.
That became
a
meme, like a meme cult classic. I could see this.
That one's endlessly memeable. This one's just stupid, so it's fun.
Oh, you could absolutely meme this movie.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, there weren't that many like verbal jokes that were like.
No, none of the verbal jokes.
Yeah, none of the verbal jokes really landed.
I think your aspirations for this movie are a little higher than what it is.
Maybe. I'm coming off the high. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, like it's a bad movie I enjoyed.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Real Boys.
What are we doing next? I don't know.
I have no clue. I mean, I think this is coming out over Christmas because it's banked.
Year in review.
Yeah, year in review.
Let me talk about random films I've watched.
Yeah. And then we've got Nosferatu coming up.
I'm so excited for that.
When does that come out?
I think it got pushed back.
Oh, it got pushed back.
No, Mickey 17 got pushed back.
Yeah,
Nosferatu is, I think, in a few weeks.
Okay. But the next one we'll go over like just a bunch of different movies we've seen this year that we...
Yeah. I've watched a few old movies. They were fun.
Yep. Sweet. So we'll come with a list each, maybe.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Thanks for your support.
And if this is out over Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Navidad and...
Happy holidays.
I can't remember the rest.
Just happy holidays.
I hope you don't get snowed in, but if you do, watch this.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, watch Real Boys on repeat.
Yeah.
Fucking go insane. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.